So again, I'm getting this story from king5.com, so thank you so much for the article. But a woman suspected of killing her 4-year-old son is accused of stabbing him at least 16 times. The woman that you guys see on my screen that literally looks like she just doesn't have a care in the world, like this doesn't concern her at all, even knowing the fact of what happened to her son. And throughout court, and as you guys can see from her demeanor, you'll see it in the video, doesn't seem like she cared at all. That's just really sad. Like, why do people have kids and they don't care about them? It's just really ridiculous. And that's according to court documents filed in this case. The mother is named Janet Garcia, who's 27 years old, and appeared in court for the first time on Monday, where her bail was set at $5 million. Garcia has not been officially charged with the crime. She was arrested on suspicion of first and second degree murder, as well as first degree assault of a child. Her son, whose name, this little young man right here, his name is Ariel Garcia, who was 4 years old. This baby was 4 years old and was found dead near Joint Base Lewis McCord in Pierce County on the evening of March 28th. Responding officers, so that was real recent, like a week ago. Responding officers noted in their report that they initially identified 16 sharp force wounds, stab wounds. 16 of them on his body, and there could be as many as 41 potentially, because she might have stabbed him in the same place in some places. That's just heartbreaking. A medical examiner determined that the boy's death to have been caused by homicidal violence. Ariel was reported missing by family members on the evening of March 27th from an apartment in Everett, where Janet Garcia had been staying with a friend. Janet Garcia's mother informed law enforcement that she sought an emergency order granting her custody of Ariel Garcia. Let's pause right there. A lot of times you guys will see these custody battles between the mother and the father, or husband and wife. In this case, you had her mother who filed for custody. Why would you want this baby boy who could have grown up to become anything to die instead of you just giving up custody to your own mother? If you ask me, that is a level of hate that I don't even think Satan could understand. Hate for this boy, hate for this child, disrespect to the human life. Her mother filed for custody, and you could have just let her have him and leave the boy alone. No, she wanted the boy to die, and she wanted to throw her freaking life away, which her life was probably nothing as it is. Her mother initially went to the apartment to serve the papers. Janet Garcia had reportedly been struggling with substance abuse she was known to use methamphetamine. So let me see if I can go back to her picture. That is the face of a meth head. I almost said crackhead. Meth head right there. That's what it looks like. Family members had sought custody of her 2 sons because her behavior was progressively getting worse, according to a probable cause affidavit. So they tried to save the kids. I didn't even know there were multiple kids, but apparently there were. Family members sought custody. When law enforcement searched the apartment, they found a large blood stain on the carpet that indicated, at minimum, a serious injury had occurred, according to court documents. When Janet Garcia was asked about what happened by the apartment's owner earlier in the day, she said the 4-year-old fell and hit his head. Now, how many times have we heard that story? We believe it to be BS. We hear it all the time. It just doesn't sound believable. She said he fell and hit his head, but she took him to the hospital and that he would be okay. I want y'all to think about this. There were at least 14 stab wounds and potentially up to 41. Does that sound like a fall? He fell. He fell and stabbed himself dozens of times. But apparently that's what she wants people to believe. Witnesses told law enforcement that Janet Garcia had recently checked herself into a rehab program in Vancouver. When law enforcement got in touch with her, she was evasive and nonspecific when asked about where the whereabouts of herself and her son. She told the officer she dropped Ariel Garcia off with a friend, an indescript friend, quote unquote, but was inconsistent when asked where and what was the friend's name. At the same time, the rehab facility that Janet Garcia had gone to called law enforcement to report that she was not wanted there. She was taken to a precinct where she was interviewed. She continued to give inconsistent statements about Ariel Garcia, her son, and how exactly he had been injured. Law enforcement noted that there were drops of blood on her shoes and shirt. Keep that in mind. Hashtag babies for benefits. Thank you, Dippy. Don't love these kids. Never cared about these kids. Only had the kids to collect benefits off of them. Purely. Meanwhile, Everett police used Janet Garcia's cell phone data to track her location from the time she was last seen to when she showed up to the rehab facility. Data shows she traveled southbound on Interstate 5 and stopped in the vicinity of JBLM. Agents with the FBI and the South Sound Gang Task Force searched the area for the 4-year-old boy. Within a short period of time, authorities discovered his body wrapped in a blanket and taken from the apartment. It never has to end like this. I don't think, let me see if I can get her face back up here. I don't think people like this ever deserve a second chance in life. They don't deserve any pity. They don't have any remorse. These people are just evil, and they just need to go to hell as quickly as possible, but they're going to have to take a detour in jail for the rest of their life, right? This 4-year-old boy had numerous sharp force injuries to his chest, abdomen, and back. That had to be a painful death. An initial count identified at least 16 wounds to the front of his body and a cluster of sharp force wounds to his upper back. I'm curious to know if any family members are going to come out and defend this in light of what we know now. Let me give you guys the fair usage, and let's take a look at these news videos. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. I know we're having some issues with the video, but do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up and share this so more people can see it. And I'll do the best I can to try to keep this stream rolling, okay? Here we go.
Ms. Garcia is present in custody.
Janet Garcia is a mother accused of murdering her 4-year-old son, Ariel.
There are too many question marks here for the court to assume the state has found their person and that person is Janet.
Her attorney making that argument in the same courtroom where the prosecutor pushed for Garcia's bail to be set at $5 million.
The reason for the requested bail is obviously the demonstrated violence that Ms. Garcia showed towards an extraordinarily vulnerable victim.
It's a case that included a phone call. Family says Janet reached her mother and stated that she had given her son up for adoption and she had checked herself into rehab in Vancouver. When her family checked the Everett apartment where Janet had been staying with her son, they weren't there, but blood was on the floor. A friend told police she reached Janet and asked about it. Court documents list text messages where Janet allegedly said, "It is nothing serious." The friend says, "Janet, I need to know that you and the child are okay because there's a lot of blood and I'm worried." Janet reportedly replied, "The boy fell and I brought him to the hospital." By Thursday evening, the boy's body was found in Pierce County near JBLM with at least 16 stab wounds. Investigators say they used Janet's cell phone data to track her location, and it led them to that area. Janet was found in Clark County. Officers said she provided inconsistent statements and had drops of blood on her shirt and shoes.
There is a danger of turning Janet into a scapegoat and ignoring the signs that there are other parties who are involved and responsible for what may have happened.
The defense attorney requested a lower bail, but was denied.
For those reasons, the court will maintain bail today at $5 million.
Now, days before Ariel Garcia was reported missing, his grandmother filed a petition for emergency guardianship. She said that her daughter had been struggling with substance abuse and the situation had gotten a lot worse in the last few months. Joyce?
What are the charges that Janet's now facing, Natalie?
She's not officially charged yet, but today in court, the judge found probable cause for first and second degree murder and first degree assault of a child. Joyce?
Natalie reporting for us tonight from Everett.
If y'all would do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. Like I said, I know that it's lagging just a little bit, but we'll try to keep these stories rolling. So y'all do me a favor. If you're watching, please hit that thumbs up. Share this so more people can see it and find where we're at, okay? All right, let's keep going. We got a couple more.
We just really hope the police come out with some answers on this and solve it and bring some justice to this poor little boy.
Brand new information on what police say led to the tragic death of a 4-year-old boy from Everett. Ariel Garcia's body was found last night. His mother was booked into the Clark County Jail the same day on charges of making a false claim to investigators. Thanks for joining us for K2 News at 6. I'm Reich Gazaway.
And I'm Barry Mangold. K2 has just obtained a report from a Clark County deputy about the arrest of Janet Garcia, the boy's mother. Investigators say she had blood on her shoes and shirt when they arrested her. K2's Emily Gersh has been following this and joins us live from the Clark County Jail. And Emily, Everett police have just announced a new arrest.
Yeah, guys, just in the last 30 seconds, we got a release from the Everett Police Department charging Janet Garcia with first-degree murder of her son, Ariel Garcia. Now, those court documents you mentioned earlier show that Garcia's mother filed for emergency guardianship. In court documents, Maria Garcia alleges her daughter, Janet, Ariel's mother, abused drugs and alcohol and would disappear for days at a time, leaving Ariel unsupervised. Everett police say Ariel was last seen in an apartment in Everett Wednesday. On Thursday, Everett police say they conducted an extensive search and were looking for a 2013 Nissan Sentra with a Washington plate. Deputies confirmed they found that car in Ridgefield Thursday. K2 News received this video footage from a bar in Ridgefield that shows the car in the parking lot Wednesday night. At 5:57 Thursday, police in Washington and Oregon received an Amber Alert about the missing boy. At 7:45 p.m., Everett police announced they found Garcia's body at 5:55 p.m. in Pierce County. The timeline of events is making some wonder why an Amber Alert was sent out after police found the boy's body. A person living in the neighborhood where Ariel was last seen in Everett said she wants some answers.
Kind of sick to my stomach.
Ms. Garcia is present in custody unrestrained.
Janet Garcia showing little emotion Monday as she appeared before a judge on charges of killing her 4-year-old son, Ariel.
The state's request is for the court to impose $5 million bail. The reason for the requested bail is obviously the demonstrated violence that Ms. Garcia showed towards an extraordinarily vulnerable victim.
The state citing concerns Garcia would fail to appear if she were released from custody and may also commit another violent crime. But Garcia's attorney asked that bail be set at $1 million, saying she has no past criminal history. He also argued the probable cause leaves a lot of circumstantial evidence.
Making false statements, which is what she was originally accused of, is not the same as murder. And there are too many question marks here. I know release isn't presumed, but innocence is.
After hearing both sides, the judge set Garcia's bail at $5 million.
The court does believe that there is a substantial likelihood that a crime of violence will occur in the future, and that Ms. Garcia may seek to intimidate witnesses or otherwise interfere unlawfully in the administration of justice.
Garcia's arraignment comes just days after police found the 4-year-old's body on the side of I-5. Detectives say Garcia stabbed Ariel at least 16 times with a sharp force object, then tried to head south. The court documents also show police were initially called to an apartment where Janet was staying and where homeowners noticed a large amount of blood on the floor. All of that happening just one day after Ariel's grandmother was in court fighting for full custody of the 4-year-old and his brother.
The allegations are that the mother is currently using, you said, drugs?
Yes, and alcohol.
This is audio from that hearing.
This order says that the children are to be with you.
Ariel's grandmother was scheduled to be back in court on Friday, March 29th for a continued custody hearing, but Ariel had already been murdered by then. And some of the conditions surrounding that $5 million bail for Garcia also includes no contact with her mother, Maria, or her other child. As for Ariel's father, in that audio recording I obtained, Ariel's grandmother says she doesn't know anything about his dad. Her daughter never told her anything about him, just that Ariel was born in California.
And I'm sorry, I just don't understand that, how in our society, and this is not all women, and shout out to my ladies. I know we have a lot of beautiful, awesome ladies and mothers in the chat, but in our society, we have too many women. I see a lot of this, and I don't know if y'all have ever seen this, but I see this happen all the time where women are having baby showers and welcoming children into this world, and no man in sight. People don't even know that they were in a relationship. They don't know if they were dealing with somebody. They don't know who they got pregnant by. The family doesn't know who they are. But so it's like we're having, in our society, all of these baby showers and women having babies by these phantom men. And what's even wilder is the amount of women, and I know it's not all, so let me preface that, okay? But too many of them don't even know who the initial father is. They have to get multiple, what do you call that? DNA test. The gestation period of a woman's body is 2 weeks, 14 days. How do you not know who you had unprotected sex with in a 14-day period is beyond me. Don't get that. Your body, your choice, but not your responsibility to know that. And I just think that that is a key indicator that we're not putting these children first. We don't have a plan for them. We don't have a plan for their future, for their survival. And look, the fact that they don't even know who the dad is, the dad didn't reach out or anything is just, I don't know, it's just beyond me. I think that proves that the dad sucks too. Fellas, we got to do better about just giving these chicks our seeds. Big facts.
So we want to return to our top story now. And a Seattle area mother arrested in Vancouver and charged with killing her 4-year-old son. Here is Catherine Cook with that update.
The death of 4-year-old Ariel Garcia is now a murder case. On Friday evening, Everett police arrested the boy's mom, Janet Garcia, for first and second degree murder and assault of a child in the first degree. At the time of her arrest, Garcia was in Vancouver, already in the Clark County Jail. Sheriff's deputies there say they found Garcia in Ridgefield on Wednesday. Court documents show Garcia parked her car here at the Three Peaks Public House and Tap Room in Ridgefield. Security video from the bar shows a woman who appears to be the suspect pull into the parking lot around 3:45. A few minutes later, she gets out of her car and starts walking north.
We have no idea. We're very much off the beaten path, and she didn't come in.
Bartender Colleen McCauley says later that night, investigators showed up and watched this video.
We were super shocked, and when the police came, the minute he said they were looking for a child, it really sunk in for everybody. I mean, that makes it so much worse.
Sheriff's deputies towed the car and found Garcia about a half-mile away from the tap house. Court documents show deputies were called to a home on Northeast 235th Street, reporting Garcia was there and wasn't wanted. Deputies noted blood on Garcia's shoes and shirt. Initially, deputies arrested Garcia for giving a false statement to police. Arrest documents show Garcia told investigators her son had fallen and hit his head and that she'd taken him to a friend's house in Seattle. But then on Thursday evening, Everett police found Ariel's body along I-5 in Pierce County. On Friday, officers drove to Vancouver and arrested Garcia for murder.
I had no idea that it was this horrible ending it's going to be.
Dorothy Crossman lives near to where Ariel and his mother lived in Everett. She's been watching this case closely.
Kind of sick to my stomach. It's just horrible and wondering why it took so long to find him and why hasn't been any information given out to the public about it.
Now everyone knows much more, including Colleen McCauley.
So I hope justice is served, and it's awful.
Catherine Cook reporting tonight. The medical examiner in Snohomish County, Washington, will determine Ariel Garcia's official cause of death.
So for those who want to question my thought process, my opinions, and say that I'm so wrong for what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm talking about, even though everything I speak of is based on facts, things that you can see in everyday life. You could get on social media and see everything that I'm talking about when it comes to a lot of people having children. I know it seems like I'm always getting on to the women. Why don't you get on to the men? I absolutely do. But when it comes to producing the children, women have absolute dominion over that, right? We can go at the men and say that the men shouldn't be providing the seed, and I 100% agree with that. So if you're dealing with a crazy person and having sex with a crazy person just because you're desperate for some coochie, I ain't said that word in a long time, then yes, you could absolutely blame the man for having unprotected raw sex. You could absolutely do that. But for those who can't even have sex with a woman without the woman's consent, that is the woman's responsibility. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? The decision maker. My body, my choice. So if a woman doesn't want to have sex with a man, the man can't have it. He cannot force that on her. If a woman does not want to have unprotected sex with a man, she does not have to. All right? If a woman wants to go get a plan B after having sex just to be careful, she has every right to do that. If a woman wants to be on contraceptives, she has every right to do that. If a woman decides that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and proceed with this pregnancy after I find out that I'm pregnant, she has every right to do that. And then if she wants to give that child up at any safe haven location, she has every right and plenty of time to make that goddamn decision. No excuse for this to happen. And on top of that, she knows who she slept with. She knows who the father is. Maybe the family members don't. You could have said at that point, hey man, I don't want this kid. Do you want to take custody of it and raise this kid? You think she did that? No, she didn't. Because all of these children for women in this position come with this thing that we call at the AFC a hashtag called babies for benefits. These type of people, not all, but these type of people only have children to get benefits from them. Section 8, food stamps, car vouchers. Pretty sure that she didn't earn that car. She probably was just sitting on her fat ass somewhere and typed in a website and boom, come along with your Section 8 benefits, right? I'm assuming, could be assuming wrong. Maybe she was doing this to trap a man, but she has multiple kids. Why she have multiple kids? And then they felt like these kids were in danger, so why didn't she just give up custody then? No, she had to commit murder. And for that, that is a conscious decision. To me, that's indicative of first-degree murder. That's premeditated, is it not? With all the options you have on the table, and thank y'all for calling out that GoFundMe. This GoFundMe right here, let me see if I can make it bigger on the screen. Let's go back. Uh-oh. Can I make it go back? Let me see. I might have messed it up. I don't know if I can go back. There we go. So somebody by the name of Daisy Salazar set up a GoFundMe to the tune of $25,000. And so far they have collected, how much did they collect? Should just put it on the screen. $16,000 for what? Look, okay. And y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Because I told you guys, whenever there is a murder, homicide situation that causes the death of a child, when that is ruled, usually the state will pick up the cost of that, right? There is no reason for the majority of these GoFundMes for the stories that I do. There was no reason for this GoFundMe. The state would have picked this up, and all of those funds should go directly to the funeral home, and anything that they don't absolutely need should be returned to the people. Nobody should be pocketing this money. That's flat out ridiculous, whether it's family members or anybody else. That shouldn't be occurring. But nonetheless, y'all tell me what you think about this. I think that woman deserves a full life sentence, and we'll probably do an update whenever they give the ruling on that. I think this is a very, very clear case, open and shut. This little boy deserved every right to grow up and become something great. Let me know what y'all think about this story. So this young prince, R.I.P. Thank you guys so much for listening to his story. Please do me a favor and share it so more people can see it. We can talk about this. And y'all tell me what y'all think. How else do we stop this? I think we got to stop it at the source for those who are out there procreating. Having sex, no protection, no plan. That's got to stop. Thank you. I know what y'all thinking. When you seen this and you saw the tattoos on the face, tattoos on the neck, how many of y'all looked at this, especially in the thumbnail, and said, damn, Jay was right. I usually am. I think that those type of tattoos are just not indicative of good people, right? But nonetheless, this story is an update. So if you haven't already seen the original, I encourage you. It was a while back. Sometimes it takes a long time for us to get to the end, the final sentencing in this story. So for a lot of you guys, this is going to be a refresher. So before we get to that, let me give you guys a disclaimer about my content if you've never been here before. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And I'm getting this story from KTTC.com. So if you guys are listening, thank you for the article. Mower County, Minnesota, I believe. Dariaz, D-A-R-I-A-Z, which is a very, very unique way of spelling that. That fool that you guys see right there, he's going to look different because these are all different pictures, all different mug shots. He is currently 40 years old from what I understand, and he entered a guilty plea. And here's what y'all got to understand about this story. Yes, he murdered this beautiful angel, Nolani Robinson. We've already talked about this story before. We'll get back to his stupid tattoos here in a minute. He killed 2 people. Just so y'all understand, the mother who was on the right-hand side of the screen, and then he murdered the little girl on top of that. And let me say this. Y'all want to continue to keep having sex with thugs and dealing with thugs and dating thugs and have kids and date and have young kids that can't speak for themselves nor defend themselves. When I say thug, thug is not black. Thug is not a skin color. Thug is an action. It is a behavior characteristic. Right? So I'm not calling him a thug because he's black. I'm calling him a thug because he is a thug lion. He is a fool. He is a non-law abiding citizen. And he should have never had access to children. And nobody should be dating him. But y'all continue to do it, and I don't know why. And because this is the outcome. But nonetheless, he entered a guilty plea more than 5 years later in this case of his daughter's death after being extradited back to Minnesota. His daughter's dead body was found in a ditch back in 2019. That's how long it takes for these stories to finally get a conclusion. So for those who are wondering, what's the update, especially like with the Billy Simone Williams story, well, they're going to court in May of 2024. And I know that's been going on for a few years now, right? So it takes a little while. Higgins was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for shooting and killing Sierra Robinson, who was the mother of their child, 2-year-old Nolani, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, after being extradited back, Higgins has pled guilty to second-degree murder without intent in Minnesota for the death of Nolani. And how he got off on that is probably a technicality because he had every intention of murdering this child, in my humble opinion. Okay? Now, according to court documents, in March of 2019, Higgins was staying at the Roadway Inn Motel in Austin, Minnesota. And y'all know that is the epitome of a roach motel. That is a 1-star, probably a half-a-star hotel. That's the cheapest of the cheap. It's the lowest of the low. That's damn near on the level of paying for a hotel hourly, right? Roadway Hotel is crap as a brand, okay? Minnesota with Nolani from February 6th of 2019 until March 10th of 2019. Police say March 10th was the day his daughter's body was removed from the hotel and taken to a ditch. Then, March 11th, an Amber Alert was issued for Nolani after her mother, Sierra Robinson, was murdered in Milwaukee by Higgins, according to KTTC's sister station, Madison WIWM-TV. That's a lot. Anyway, Nolani's body was found 5 days later on March 15th, wrapped in a blanket. Does that not sound like the last story we just did? Dead body wrapped in a blanket? It's like everybody keep doing the same damn thing, killing kids, wrap them in a blanket. They fell, they hit their head, they drowned in a tub. They were asleep. I didn't know something was wrong with them. I neglected to go to the hospital. All these stories all sound the same. Every one of them. She was wrapped in a blanket in the East Ditch north of Highway 218 and Highway 30 by a passerby. Family members later confirmed the identity of the body. When authorities went to get a DNA sample from Higgins on March 18th in Milwaukee County Jail, he told Milwaukee investigators Nolani fell off the toilet and subsequently died. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. Has that ever even happened in history? A child was on the toilet, so I'm assuming they're using the potty. They fell off the potty, which is like, what, a foot or two off the ground? Fell in such a fashion that they got multiple blunt force trauma injuries and died? When in the... God, I am trying not to cuss. But y'all about to hear some cuss words here in a minute, so just brace yourselves. When has that ever happened in the history of planet Earth? Higgins then told police he wrapped the body in a blanket and left her on the floor by the bed for a couple of days. That's the thumbnail to the original story that I did, now that I think about it. So if y'all look on my channel, go into the search, you can find the original story. This was a long time ago when I talked about this. Somebody who can treat their own flesh and blood this way, ladies, those are the type of people you're having sex with. They don't even have a place to live, and they're living in a roadway inn and suites. That's who y'all producing kids by? That's what is attractive about that? What is attractive about that dumbass behavior? Yeah, he didn't call 911. He didn't do anything. Oh, Lord. That's when Higgins told police he and another adult female, not the mother, loaded up the car to drive for Minneapolis in blizzard conditions and left the body in the ditch since they could not travel with his dead daughter's body. Higgins acknowledged his daughter had been dead for a few days when he put the body in a ditch. No 911. The autopsy on Nolani determined that she died from blunt force trauma to the head and probably had multiple blunt force trauma injuries. She also had blunt force injuries on her extremities from falling off a toilet while trying to potty train, I guess, right? She just somehow fell and killed herself. Higgins was arrested in Wisconsin and pled guilty in April of 2021 for killing Sierra Robinson. So he killed her but didn't kill his daughter that fell off the toilet, right? Where he's been serving his life sentence in the Walpun Correctional Institution. Higgins will appear in a Mower County courtroom Wednesday for his plea hearing, but he's already been sentenced for that. That's over and done with. His life is a wrap as we know it. Let me give you guys the news videos. Hold on. Here we go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. I'm just curious. I know people have died on the toilet, but they didn't die from falling off the toilet. Y'all catch that? I want y'all to tell me one single time in the history of planet Earth that a child was using the bathroom and for some unknown reason they fell off the toilet, and because of them falling off the toilet, the trauma of falling off the toilet caused them to die. Just give me one story. Because that is just MFing stupid. Hit that thumbs up. We're about to give away some channel memberships here in a minute. Please hit that thumbs up, okay? Here we go.
5 years, a day in court today for 2-year-old Nolani Robinson, who was found dead, wrapped in a blanket on the side of a road near Blooming Prairie. That is our top story tonight. Thanks for being with us. I'm Brock Burgee. Caitlin has the night off. KATTC's Olivia Prodzinski was in Austin today, where that young girl's father, Dariaz Higgins, pleaded guilty to murder charges. Olivia, what did the county attorney have to say on this case?
Brock, Mower County Attorney Kristen Nelson says while Higgins pleaded guilty today, a lot of work went into this case over 5 years. She says extraditing him from Wisconsin, where he has already been convicted of murder, and the pandemic played roles in slowing down justice.
And I want y'all to remember, I'm not talking about people who died on the toilet. They died from something else. I'm talking about somebody who suffered an injury from falling off the toilet. And the injury of falling off the toilet caused them to die. That's what I'm talking about. Tell me one time in history that's ever happened to any human being, let alone a baby.
According to court documents, 2-year-old Nolani Robinson's body was wrapped in a blanket in an Austin motel room for days before her father, Dariaz Higgins, left her on the side of the road outside of Blooming Prairie. Higgins' criminal complaint also details that in between killing his daughter and ridding himself of her body, he traveled to Milwaukee to shoot and kill Nolani's mother, Sierra Robinson. He's currently serving a life sentence for the mother's death in Wisconsin. Now, 5 years later, Higgins has pleaded guilty to Nolani's death.
It's just sad. We're done with our case, but at the end, we still have a dead child who was killed by her father. So there's some relief that we've gotten her some justice, but you can't bring her back.
During the plea hearing, Higgins admitted to beating Nolani to death, something Mower County Attorney Kristen Nelson says is horrific.
She couldn't get the basic kindness from her father, who beat her and killed her.
Steele County Sheriff Lon Teeley questions if there really can be justice after a loss of life.
I mean, how many years can you get for that? It's unfortunate. It's such a tragic and heinous event that this 2-year-old will never get to do.
And if y'all are listening, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up so you can share the story. That's all we need, just more people to comment and more people to share it and hit that thumbs up. It helps that algorithm, help share this out so more people can see it, okay?
Live, but the relations of this 2-year-old will never get to see this 2-year-old grow up.
Higgins appeared before the Mower County judge wearing a bright orange jail.
Face tattoos, look. And y'all notice how he has the prayer hands in the middle of his face tattooed? And those people are Bible thumpers. Do they believe in God? Do they really, really, truly believe in a heaven and hell? Really? You think these people care about human life? He's going straight to hell for what he did. If adults get into it, I'm not so much concerned about that. I'm usually, and y'all know where my heart is. Y'all see the t-shirt, AFC Podcast, Advocates for Children. I let adults do what they do. I'm here and I'm concerned about these children. He's going to hell for what he did to his own daughter. Can you dig it? Let's keep going.
Issued uniform, showing minimal remorse for his crimes.
An unnecessary event that some coward did to a 2-year-old.
He's one of those people, only God can judge me. That's probably what that tattoo in the middle of his forehead is saying.
During the hearing, Higgins was sentenced to 17 years in prison, but family members of Nolaney shared during impact statements that they will carry this trauma for the rest of their life.
This will never leave them. They can never get beyond it. They have to live with it every day. It's nice to at least be able to turn that page for them.
Higgins will serve this time in Wisconsin in tandem to his life sentence. According to court documents, there was a female with Higgins at the time that he dropped off Nolaney's body. And the county attorney tells me that she is not facing charges because she was cooperative with authorities and that they cannot prove that she had anything to do with Nolaney's death.
What a story, and not a case. Really, what words do you have for that? And the sound echoed that, Olivia. Thank you. More than 5 years after the case of his daughter's death, Dariaz Higgins enters a guilty plea after he was extradited from Wisconsin to Minnesota. His daughter's body was found in a ditch back in 2019. Higgins was convicted and sentenced to life in prison for shooting and killing Sierra Robinson, the mother of their child, 2-year-old Nolani, in Milwaukee. Now, after being extradited back, Higgins has pleaded guilty to second-degree murder without intent in Minnesota for the death of Nolani. According to court documents, in March of 2019, Higgins was staying at the Roadway Inn Motel in Austin with Nolani, where she died of blunt force trauma to the head. Higgins then took her body to a ditch north of Blooming Prairie and left her there wrapped in a blanket during the blizzard conditions before traveling back to Wisconsin to kill Sierra.
More than 2 years have passed since we learned of the murders of a young mother and her 2-year-old daughter. Their bodies found in 2 different states. Today, the child's father was sentenced for the murder of her mother. The case against Dariaz Higgins is complicated, shocking, and tragic. CBS 58's Gabriella Becerra is live in Milwaukee with what happened today. Gabriella.
Jessup, the courtroom gallery was nearly full this morning as family and friends of the 2 victims showed up to not only say their piece, but also get answers.
After 2 years, I can get closure. I can start healing.
A weight now lifted off of Lanesha Parker's shoulders for the first time in 2 years.
Man, I wanted to give up, and I couldn't give up because Nolani and Sierra. So, y'all, this one is definitely for y'all.
Parker feels closure after a Milwaukee County judge sentenced Dariaz Higgins to life in prison without parole on charges of first-degree intentional homicide and first-degree attempted homicide.
What I see is somebody who has absolutely no remorse for the crimes that he has committed and, quite frankly, is still blaming the victim. It's stunning to me.
After allegedly killing his 2-year-old daughter, Higgins shot and killed the mother, Sierra Robinson, 10 times.
You took 2 people from me.
I'm curious about something because I noticed that these women are sad that the mother and the kid are dead. And I'm not trying to stick my finger in a wound, but I'm just curious. I'm just flat out curious, and I'm going to look into the camera when I ask this. I need somebody in the chat who's listening to this story right now to tell me if knowing that this type of thing happens when you date thugs and you date death, when you make your bed, you lay in it, is this going to deter any of these women from dating people who are similar in stature and behavior to this fool who murdered his baby mom and his baby? So let me pose that question again. Do you think that this is going to deter these women from dating fools like this? Just my opinion. I'm just asking a question. Because I don't think it's going to deter them at all. I think a lot of these women, including the women y'all just saw on the screen, are probably dating dudes just like this. He wouldn't do that to me. I got me a good man, y'all. I got me a good man.
Never, ever get to hug him, get to say I love you.
Today, the question that's been keeping her loved ones up at night.
Why? That's all I can ask is why.
was finally answered.
I did not know that it was going to end up turning out the way that it did, but Sierra took something from me.
She took something from me. Now, look, I want y'all to think about this. He said that she took something from him. What do y'all want to bet that thing, even though he was nondescript about what it was, you notice it couldn't have been that important because he didn't say what it was. But I can almost guarantee you the thing that she took away was in between her legs. What y'all want to bet? The thing that they get with these type of men that are bottom of the barrel type men because they feel like those men will not leave them. They will value them more than they value themselves. They'll value these women more than anything is they want a man that is not going to go anywhere, is going to stay loyal and faithful to them until they realize, oh, he's an idiot. Oh, he's not a good person. Oh, he's violent. Oh, he's going to talk that way to me. I thought he would just behave that way to everybody else. I didn't think he would do me like that. Right? Now she wants to leave, and now he's like, you know what? You just took away everything that I wanted in life, which was between your legs, and now since I can't have it anymore, nobody else can. That's what I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Higgins is also facing charges for...
What you guys up to?
This is where they picked him up. I'm showing y'all this video because I never saw this before. So hopefully y'all can still see this. I know we're having some technical difficulties. Take a look at this. This is when they picked him up. Take a look at this.
What you guys up to? You guys staying here? Yeah. Okay. All right. I just got sitting out here. I was coming to check on, make sure everything's okay. Everything's all right? Okay. All right. You guys got your ID on you real quick just so I can say I talked to you? Just log your info real quick. You stay here too? Yeah. Just finish up. They don't let you smoke in there, do they? Oh, man. I tell you what. Thank you. Go ahead. In from Wisconsin? You got your Wisconsin ID?
146 on Way Express.
What's he got going on? I know what he got warrants or something.
I think because he got a couple blunts of weed.
Okay. Some weed? It's legal here.
Can I?
Radio 6, the black vehicle just fled the scene here. I have the female with me here. It's a black Honda SUV, westbound out towards Middlebelt.
Look at that. Golly.
Milwaukee County judge stunned by a man's lack of remorse, sentencing him to life in prison without parole.
That is for the shooting death of his ex-girlfriend, Sierra Robinson. Dariaz Higgins also getting an additional 10 years for wounding her friend. Fox 6's Bill Miston explains Higgins still facing a murder trial for the death of his 2-year-old daughter.
Hey there, Mary and Ben. You may remember an Amber Alert was issued for Nolani Robinson after those shootings here in Milwaukee back in March of 2019. Well, unfortunately, Nolani's body was found in a ditch in southeastern Minnesota several days after those shootings. That case still pending. And today, Higgins, any leniency he may have received from the judge going out the window when he chose to address the court and blamed the shooting victims here in Milwaukee.
I did not know that it was going to end up turning out the way that it did, but Sierra took something from me, and she tried to use the baby as a bargaining chip.
Quite frankly, it would have been to your benefit to probably say nothing.
Judge Janet Protasiewicz saying in the nearly 3 years she's handled homicide and sex crimes cases, twice she's declined the opportunity for parole and sentencing. Higgins would become the third. The 37-year-old pleaded guilty in April to shooting and killing his ex, Sierra Robinson, and wounding her friend, Lanisha Parker, in March 2019. Robinson from Las Vegas had flown to Milwaukee to pick up her daughter, Nolani. Prosecutors said Higgins led the two women on a goose chase around Milwaukee prior to the shooting, eventually claiming the girl was in a Northside apartment. The girl, prosecutors say, was already dead, lying in a Minnesota ditch.
That's deplorable.
The defense and prosecution had asked for prison time, eventually with the opportunity to ask for parole. Family and friends of Robinson filling the gallery, her mother and others addressing the court asking for...
Why would anybody ever want him to parole out? You killed 2 people, including your own flesh and blood. Why would anybody show that type of person mercy?
No chance for parole, including Parker, who was wounded. A round of applause going up as Higgins sentenced to life without parole, an additional 10 years for shooting Parker.
As many times as I wanted to give up, y'all, I wanted to give up so bad. Man, I wanted to give up and I couldn't give up because no Lonnie and Sierra.
Parker still dealing with the scars and wounds of being shot 8 times, an emotional roller coaster that started 2 years ago, but that's not over.
It's one by.
And they said he shot somebody else. Oh my God. He shot somebody else 8 times. Clearly he wanted them to die too. And they're we need to consider maybe letting him get parole later in life for freaking what?
We got round 2, and I'm gonna be right there.
For when the murder case of 2-year-old Nolani begins in Minnesota. Now, while Higgins' legal troubles here in Milwaukee County may be over again, he still faces a second-degree murder charge in Mower County, Minnesota.
No. So all of that is over and done with. He's going to life. Gonna do life in prison permanently for those 2 individuals' deaths, especially the death of this little girl, beautiful little baby. She deserved every opportunity to grow up and become something great. But let me say this, because I say this from my heart to the ladies, because I care about y'all and I love y'all, and I know that you guys are the ones who are responsible for dealing with these men and bringing life into this world. And if you don't want to have life, you don't have to have it. But if you do, we have to make sure that we bring children into this world with a plan. A feasible plan that makes sense for all parties. We have to think that much about it rather than just thinking about our own personal sexual desires, our own personal feelings. Because if all we care about is dating thugs and because of how this person makes you feel, then just don't produce children. Is it that freaking hard not to do? Date thugs, you date death, deal with it. Just don't produce children, because this baby still deserved every opportunity to grow up and become somebody. And this man went out of his way to try to end 3 people's lives. Are y'all going to continue to date men like this? I guess the numbers will prove it. Y'all continue to send me emails. I'll continue to do the stories. I'll continue to report it until this thing stops. To Nolani, young princess, R.I.P. To the family, I understand that you guys might not see things my way, but I think that us as adults have to make better decisions. We have to be held accountable from the time that we are grown going forward, and that's just the end of it, okay? Thank you guys so much for listening. That's why we advocate for children first. Put the children first, okay? Thank you.